is finally over, everybody. The premiere of Big Brother Canada Season 2 is finally here, and I'm ready to talk all about it. Of course, the episode kicks off with Arissa welcoming us to Season 2, where the winner will be spending the next 75 days and nights under constant scrutiny. The look and feel of the show is really about 24/7. Someone is always watching. The house has a half-knot room, as in everything is cut in half, and there is also a war room, which is pretty interesting. Next up are the house guest introductions. The first 5 house guests entering the house were Arlie, Sabrina, Kenny, Sarah, and Andrew. First impressions on the first 5? Arlie was way too pumped to be in the house. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd be pumped too. But it almost got to a point where his woos and dramatic arm movement was uncomfortable. His intro video was a tad lame with this whole Rocky theme, but hey, I still like the guy and he's one of my favorites so far. Kenny is actually gay, you know, the male model, which I don't believe was in his bio, so that was a surprise to everyone watching. But I did love how he was willing to do whatever it takes to win. As in, he's willing to make out with girls if it gets him further. As for Sabrina, Sarah, and Andrew, they were rather quiet and their intros weren't really anything over and above. The next 4 house guests entering the house were Anik, Kyle, John, and Aika. Anik is really weird, but she's kind of cute. Her intro video was basically about how crystals are all different, like her. Aika also stood out for me. She had her first kid when she was 17 and her mom kicked her out of the house, so you could say her life wasn't perfect at the time. But she now has 2 kids, looks pretty happy, and has a great body for having 2 kids. Kyle is still a douche who reminds me of Jesse from Big Brother US, and I kind of like John just because he plays hockey, and well, I love hockey. The last 5 house guests were Nita, Rochelle, Paul, Adele, and Heather. I still think Rochelle is the best looking girl in the house. Nita is definitely going to cause some drama in the house. And Paul is a dad who comes across as the lovable, caring dad. But wait till later. Adele is an extremely cocky guy, and you can definitely see he's an aggressive dude. And Heather is that typical bubbly blonde. You know what I'm talking about. Alright, the 14 house guests are in the house at this point, hanging out on the round couch. Douche Kyle already has his shirt unbuttoned 4 seconds into the house. The house guests find out that the first HOH competition is about to begin, and they all have to get into their swimwear. The first HOH competition is an endurance challenge called Icebreakers. Basically, there's a block of ice in front of each house guest, which then they have to step on with their bare feet and stay there as long as they can. It sounds rather easy, but coming from a guy who loves to take hot showers and can't stand the cold, I'd probably pussy out after 5 minutes. Well, the first house guest to drop was Sarah. It wasn't so bad for whoever decided to call it quits, because there was a nice big pizza party waiting for them, sponsored by Pizza Pizza. Rochelle, Andrew, and Sabrina were the next to step off the ice block, which then a small twist came into play. There were 3 coolers put in front of the remaining house guests. Each cooler had something good or something bad. First person to fall was Heather, and she won $1,000. Arissa then told the house guests that the coolers would only be there for another 2 minutes. So, Aika falls, but unfortunately for her, she's stuck wearing her bikini for the next 48 hours. Fortunate enough for the guys. No one opened up the 3rd cooler. With 8 remaining house guests still in the competition, Paul decides to speak up. He's been acting like he can't handle the cold, but apparently it's all a lie. So he comes up with this idea that is completely crazy to even bring up, but it freaking works. He tells the remaining house guests that if they all drop, he won't nominate any of them or backdoor them. What? You've known this guy for probably less than 2 hours and you're going to trust him? Come on, this is the Big Brother game. Well, guess what? All the house guests dropped, and Paul is our first HOH of Season 2. It was pretty funny when Paul was in the diary room telling us how crazy everyone is for trusting him just like that. I'm telling you, if Paul continues to play like this, he's not going to get very far. So I hope he takes a back seat for the next few weeks. Alright, here we go. The first twist in Season 2, brought to you by Twistos, the final house guest. Well, it's not Andrew's twin brother, it's not someone from the US version, it's not Gary, it's not a house guest from Season 1, so who is it? Well, for the first time ever in Big Brother history, we, us Canadians, get to choose one of 3 specific house guests. Pretty cool, eh? These 3 house guests are going to be in the house, but in a separate room, completely closed off from everyone else. We can watch them for a week on the live feeds, and then we can decide who we want in the house. Or you could just decide now. The first option is 23-year-old Nate from Burnaby, BC. Hey, that's my hometown. Well, it doesn't mean I'm going to vote for him. He's a custom sheet metal fabricator who is fun, outgoing, and gorgeous. My wife hates my soul patch, but when she saw his, mine wasn't so bad after all. The second option is Allison. She's not your typical girl. She acts like a tomboy. She's 25 years old from St. John's, Newfoundland, and she is a registered nurse who is quirky. I kind of want her in the house just because she's different. Speaking of different, the third option is Scott. He's 36 years old from Halifax, Nova Scotia. He's larger than life with 4 jobs. By day, he's a medical secretary, but on the side, he's an event producer, makeup artist, and a drag performer. Honestly, I think Canada is going to vote him in because he kind of acts like Gary, and we all know how much Canada loves Gary. Woo! That was a lot to cover. Don't forget, if you want to be a part of the voting process, head over to bigbrothercanada.ca and sign up. The live feeds are back again, and they are free again, which is amazing. I hope you enjoyed my first recap. If you did, please click the thumbs up. If there's anything you guys would like me to talk about, make sure to leave a comment below. I always want to make my videos better for the viewers. If you want me to add spoilers, then I will, but I know that might be 50-50. As a reminder, I will be doing a recap every single episode, so that means 3 episodes a week. So don't forget to subscribe. See you all tomorrow for the first live eviction.